All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Garage to Greatness with me, Alex, and Thomas Pena. Today, we are going to be talking about gambling.
Wait, I love that.
So, this week, the Super Bowl happened.
Man, listen, that was incredible. I'm not a fan of either one, but it was a great game. But what I did is I was talking to several buddies and they was talking about, man, the bets that they were placing, who was given the odds and things like that. And man, naturally there were some winners and there were some losers.
Absolutely. There always is, right?
Absolutely. But talking about gambling and betting, I made a bet.
What was your bet on?
Oh, my bet was on me and my company.
There you go.
And it was the best bet I have ever made in my life. Now, I should tell you that, if you're thinking about gambling, gamble on yourself because the best bet is always you. But there's other types of bets.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest bets that I was thinking about is bet on your employees. Right? Because employee retention is at like the all-time low. People aren't staying with companies for 40 years anymore. The average person stays with the company for 5 years. And if we invest back into our employees, then our retention rates are going to be higher, our productivity rates are going to be higher, and ultimately the bottom dollar is going to be higher. And so I think there's a ton of great ways to invest in your employees, whether or not it's through training, whether or not it's through helping them with their own finances. I think that's tailored to each individual employee. I mean, what do you think about investing?
I think there's a lot of, man, listen, we talk about building customers for life and things like that. I think, if you hired the people, you took the bet, you're gambling on if it's going to pay off or not. But the best way you can make it pay off is by investing in them. Investing in training, personal development for them. Man, I'm going to tell you, one of the things that we do here is we love personal development. We're all about trying to always get better. Not just me, but Alex himself, and then
not only that, but we help each other towards those goals too, right? We find each other's weaknesses. And, we've talked about it it was our first episode about you're not a very good typer, And so what did? I said, Thomas, man, constructive criticism. You're not a very good typer. You spend 10 minutes a day learn how to type. And that's what Thomas does now. Thomas spends 10 minutes a day learn how to type, and he's getting better and better.
Most days.
Yeah, most days.
Most days.
But, investing in each other, realizing each other's strengths and weaknesses and going on that way. We're not talking about 401ks and health insurance. Man, that's all stuff that just comes with jobs anyways. We're talking about going above and beyond and creating that employee for life, because that's what's important, is creating those employees for life to bring that turnover rate down.
Absolutely. And let me just tell you, by doing that, man, productivity comes up, team collaboration happens. And when those things happen, your ROI goes up. There's nothing better that you can do is, like I said, you took the gamble, you hired them, you brought them in. Man, now give them the tools and resources that they need to make sure that the gamble and the bet you made pays off.
So last night I was watching this video as I was laying in bed, and a business owner had, there was 4 business partners inside this business, and they had a program where essentially they had employee housing. It was offered for free. And one of the employees lost his house and had a wife, some kids. So the company moved him into employee housing and said, you have 12 months here to get back on your feet and go from there. By month 10, this guy bought a house and was building it, waiting for it to be hooked up and finished so he can move out. But he comes in and sits down in the break room and starts talking to one of the owners, and starts talking about how he wants to get better health, wants to work out, wants to move up in the company. And the owner instantly realized, man, I put so much into this guy that he wants to give back. And all 3 of the other owners end up joining in the conversation. A few of the managers join in the conversation. And this guy that was telling the story was like, I just sat back and didn't say anything. He goes, I fostered an environment where everybody wanted to help each other out and wanted to better and invest back into each other, which in turn only helped the company, as well as making sure these people grew on a personal level and on a professional level. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. And that's the kind of environments that we should be fostering and that you should be fostering as well inside the workplace.
Absolutely. It makes me sit back and think. I was doing a reading yesterday, and they were talking about employee engagement, how to really, man, get your employees plugged in, engaged, motivated. And there was something so simple, and we teach it in our sales training, and that is to take a little sticky note and just write an encouraging word. If you see somebody, man, listen, we are so quick to sit back when somebody does something wrong. Man, like Alex, I can't believe, man, there you go with the website again. There you go with this. There you go with that. And, we're so quick to jump on somebody and tell them the things that they do wrong when we should be just the opposite. And when we see them do something right, we should tell them that they did something right and then say it loud so everybody around can hear. That is making that gamble. And that's kind of a new idea for a lot of people.
Yep.
So,
yeah, positive reinforcement is something we always talk about the generational gap. And something, my generation and Gen Z likes is positive encouragement. That is one of the ways that we connect with some of these younger generations is through positive encouragement. And even up to your generation and the generations ahead of you, you guys like it too. You just never knew it existed or knew it was a thing. And giving people those positive encouragements is really a phenomenal way to build on it. Now, that doesn't mean constructive criticism is important. But when you're giving people that positive reinforcement, it is time for constructive criticism. It becomes a lot easier to give that constructive criticism.
And they're more willing and receptive to it because they know that you value them. So
absolutely. And I think this is all super important, that people need to know they can do it. They can foster these incredible environments in their workplace and overall help out the entire of the company and help out each one of their employees individually. And it's super important that message gets out and gets to every one of these you business owners that are out there, because it's time for us to foster this new environment and bring back 40-year employees, the employee for life. So
absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we have this week for our episode of Garage to Greatness, and we will see you guys next week.